please?
I got just 11:02, right? Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Little? Here. Mr. Nagy?
Here.
Mr. Villalobos?
Present.
Mr. Caper is absent. Mr. Stick?
Here.
Mr. Fisher?
Here.
Mr. Wilkenine is absent. Mr. Brittingham is
Absent.
absent. Mr. Miger?
Here.
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Ms. Rivera? Here. Mr. Ashton?
Present.
Thank you. Public comment? Public comment twice. Public comment 3 times. Okay, thank you. Approval of the minutes of Wednesday, May 22nd, 2004. Do we have a motion?
24.
Pardon?
24.
What did I say?
4.
Oh, 24, thank you. I do that on purpose so you can correct me.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Little? Yes. Mr. Nagy?
Yes.
Mr. Villalobos?
Yes.
Mr. Stick?
Yes. The CLPD presentation will be done next month. The lady couldn't make it. VIPS report?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
May 2024 VIPS hours. As you can see, everybody did some hours for the month, and we had 7 total call-out and detail counts, 2 parades, 2 bike runs, and then 1 call-out for a utility problem.
So how's your membership doing? Gaining anybody?
No, sir.
No? Well, thank you for your report and thank you for your service.
Thank you. You're welcome.
On the VIPS report, sir, just as a heads up.
Pardon me?
On the VIPS report, so we have a vehicle that we're taking out of service in the police side that we're going to upfit and pass it on down to the VIPS, so they'll have 2 SUVs for the winter time. So we got all the stripes off it. We just got, I think we're waiting on a quote to get the VIPS striping put on it. Then we got to remove some equipment that's not necessary for them, but then they'll have 2 SUVs. So.
Okay, great.
What are they gonna do with the other vehicles? Are they gonna get rid of them?
I think we're going to probably gov deals 501, right?
Right.
Because it's just got, it's a 2007 or 09?
Yes, no, son.
07, so it's just done. And the other Charger is probably emergency only, like they need something. So we'll have 3 vehicles, 2 SUVs, 2 Fords, and then the Dodge for their call-outs, what they need. But the 2 Dodge Chargers, they've seen better days.
Do we use some of those other vehicles that are parked back there for if a police officer's vehicle goes down?
These back here?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, these are all full cars.
Okay.
Yep.
I just
So one of them that's back there though is the one that we've removed all the stripes. We just it's right before Summerfest, so we're kind of busy with a lot of stuff. So we just haven't finished it out. We're waiting on the quote to get the striping done on it, so.
Okay, thank you.
And then I'm guessing probably by the end of July we'll have it in service for them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Police Department, number 4, communications.
I don't have anything this time. I do have a letter, but I just don't have it with me. I think the deputy chief's got it, but I'll have it at the next meeting. It was in reference to that case related to the PTO.
Okay.
Remember that information? I can't go into too much detail because the U.S. Attorney doesn't want us to put too much out, but
All right.
they're very thankful in our investigation, so.
That's great.
Yeah.
Number 5, finances, purchase orders.
I'll start off with the grant portion of it. So Too Good for Drugs finished up with a final payment to the town of $1,500 for a total of $5,000 that went into the drug fund. We also, K9 Johnny and Officer Tomko had a community engagement event on June 8th. It was held at Focus Nutrition in Cedar Lake. Donations were, donated to the program, $660. On June 14th, the donation letters were mailed out for the K-9 Fund. We're starting to receive some of those in. And then we just received 4 cases of gummy bears from Albany's for the 4th of July parade. Leftovers will be used at trunk or treat. And we found out today that we were awarded $5,000 from the Safe Coalition. It's going to go towards any overtime related to drugs or alcohol. So, yeah. So it was a grant we put in, Sarah put in through the Safe Coalition. We asked for a little bit more. They had a total of $170,000 worth of requests, but they donated out $62,889.50. Cedar Lake got $5,000. Lake County Corrections got $11,000. Griffith received $5,000. Lake County Criminal Probation received $7,900. Lados received $16,000. Hobart Police Department got $12,200. Us and Maryville both got $5,000. So
That's great.
yeah, it worked out pretty good. It was a lengthy grant, but she did a pretty good job writing it up. So
Who wrote that grant?
my administrative assistant Sarah.
Okay, very good.
Purchase orders.
Did you finish 5?
I'm getting to it right now, sir. Let me get to the purchase orders. Do you have any questions on any purchase orders? On the financial report. We should be receiving our first car, we're guessing in the next 2 days. It's gonna, then they'll go up to, PDS.
Okay, I was gonna ask you about that, so I'll ask you now. I was reading that the state police is having a terrible, so how are we gonna deal with?
Well, luckily they'll be under warranty for the first portion of it. The unfortunate part is a lot of that is due to the idle time that squad cars have. We don't have as much idle time as ISP does.
You think that's what's causing that?
And a poor design. It actually happened to my squad car.
Did it?
About a month ago. I was fueling up and we noticed that it was dripping oil. So I got it over to Dodge right away. And what happened was the oil cooler propeller had broke and got into the antifreeze. If I'm saying that correctly, I know if I'm not, Mr. Nagy can correct me on that. So I believe that's how it was. So unfortunately, it was out of warranty, so we had to pay for it. But
I'm surprised with that big recall that they're not covering that.
they haven't yet, because mine's a 2019, so I don't know if it's at certain years.
It's like the state police have been inundated with
Yeah.
problems with
Yeah.
that.
Sometimes they won't volunteer it,
Right.
but a nice letter and questioning and tell them how you
I can do that.
just keep buying that, amazing, even if they picked up the parts.
Right. We had a lifter issue in that 2012 that was about a week out of warranty, and we sent the letter to Dodge and they covered the whole thing. So sometimes they're pretty good, but I will do that. I will send a letter out to them and reach out to James Auto, who did the work for us locally. So.
Especially since the state police has got that massive problem.
Right. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Good job, Norm.
Pardon me?
Good job.
Thank you.
This is kind of minor in the grand scheme of things here, but what are training handcuffs?
They're handcuffs that are used for new officers that are easily removable.
Oh.
They have
So there's
special
training
large.
for handcuffs?
Yeah, so they're used in defensive tactics, and the biggest reason for that is the state updated our defensive tactics, which Norm could probably help you with, because it was a massive policy we changed last year where there's new requirements that haven't been changed in years. And so our defensive tactics instructor, Sergeant Miller, asked us if we can get some because they're easier to take off. They're true handcuffs, but they don't have the same locking mechanism.
Okay.
So that when they're doing these speed cuffing techniques, that they get to learn and they can take them off faster, not
Without
trying
the
to fiddle around.
frustration so
Yeah.
much. Okay.
So we bought them for training.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, everybody done with 5, we move on to 6, staffing.
Matthew Milano, I just talked to him today. He is moved into phase 2. He leaves for the academy at the end of July. So his testing for the academy is Monday the 22nd, I want to say. Let me look at the date real quick. Yeah, so Monday the 22nd, he does his physical agility test to get in, and he starts the academy on Monday the 29th.
Okay, good. Trainer report?
You got a copy of the training report. I don't know if you have any questions on that, but in the month of May, we had firearms qualifications for Milan. We had some officers go down to Terre Haute for a class called Bulletproof Mind. We had some additional construction hours again for firearms qualification, grant writing class, pre-basic class that we put on for Milan. They had SWAT week and domestic violence for officers.
Any questions from the board? Okay, equipment.
Only equipment right now we have is we have some vehicles that have broke down, but we're getting them fixed. But we did new squads. Each one of them have a different ship date on them right now, so we're hoping in the next week they start coming in and then they'll go to PDS. Unfortunately, they'll sit at PDS for about 8 weeks until we, yeah.
Interesting with that problem they're having,
Yeah.
if they, you know, if they keep on, they'll probably keep on shipping.
Oh yeah, it's a really nice squad car. It's just a fix they're gonna have to figure out. So.
Yeah, okay. Monthly activity report number 9.
All right, so you see the calls for service. We're at 1,180 calls for service for the month of May. We had 565 traffic stops. We had 503 warnings issued, 233 traffic citations issued. We had 696 law incidents. We had 28 arrests with 41 charges. Code enforcement, we had 50 town ordinance warnings issued, and we had 80 citations issued for the month. You know, we have that high enforcement activity that we're doing on 2 specific days for the month. So for the new board members, we are doing I'm calling it a high area traffic area. What we're doing is identifying areas that we get routine complaints about speeding vehicles, offering some overtime to officers to sit in those areas and for 4 hours in specific blocks where we know that that's where the problem is taking place, issuing citations and stuff like that. So that's going very well. The officers are enjoying that. So.
Well, I've also heard from some people who that has affected as far as their neighborhood saw what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Very happy.
Very happy. Good.
I'm
Good.
sure some of that action's been going on over by my house.
Yeah.
Possible. Very possible.
Yeah, but there's some people homeowners that, wow, we're really happy that they're.
Good. Good. I'm glad it's working. We're going to reevaluate it in August to see where the money's at before we go any further into September, just to make sure that we're not getting too deep into the overtime. So.
Can I bring up one more thing real quick?
Yep.
When Carl puts out there on Facebook about, you know, when you guys apprehended what you had to do and that is, man, that is great. People just love that.
We get a lot of compliments on it.
Yeah,
Yep.
that is, please don't let him stop.
No, he won't. He's
Okay.
pretty good at it. Truth be told, Carl and Sarah are the only 2 that have access to that account. I don't even have, because I don't really do it that much, so I don't know that I would know what I was doing anyways. So, but yeah, he tries to keep that updated as much as possible.
Okay,
I've almost finished, I'm sorry. June 5th, you know, we had to postpone the inspection. We're looking at some dates, so I think we're going to have it in August, so we'll let you guys know ahead of time for the department inspection. It'll be key that everybody's there because we'll also do the department photo, so we'll need you there for the department photo.
I'm sorry, what day was that?
We don't have a set date yet. We're looking at when people are not on vacation to make it better.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's going to be in August mostly.
Oh, okay.
June 12th, they had Protecting Canine Heroes booth at Cedar Lake Farmers Market. That's the lady Stacy that donated the dog to us. Canine Johnny made an appearance with the administrative assistant was there. Was a really good turnout. And then on the 23rd, which was last week, they had the Protecting Canine Heroes second annual fundraiser. Very good turnout. Big help from our VIPs. Guys that were out there. We had one of our SWAT operators go and get the SWAT truck and bring it down for the kids to climb all over. multiple dogs there, so it was a very, very good turnout. So it was held at the Knights of Columbus.
Great, is that all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, number 10, take a deep breath.
You ready?
And,
Let me get a drink of water.
we'll start those.
All right, so we'll start off with policy 104, jobs. This was related to the police department. This was not from Lexipol. We just needed to update a few things because the previous policy had me getting things that we actually have the recording secretary do now, so we needed to update it and have that on there. As well as we put some information on that policy of where to go if you're looking for qualifications, descriptions, special assignments, promotions, those things, to know that you need to go to that specific policy for that. Policy 202, Emergency Operations Plan. This is from Lexipol. It updated the address with the Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standards, after action reports, and Emergency Operations Plan review. Just so you know, we do have an EOP. It's still pending in Attorney Austin's office. Once that gets approved, we'll update our policy to mirror that. And then it has a requirement that we review that policy at minimum every 2 years, or that EOP every 2 years. Policy 203, which is training. This was both the police department and Lexipol. So first off, the LETB, so that's the Law Enforcement Training Board, amended the regulations regarding mandatory and service training requirements and deadline for submittal of annual written training status from March 31st to January 31st. Government mandated training records, and then the LETB standard 110-2, which is in-service training schedules, and then the Cedar Lake Police Department, we added a big section in there for travel. We're having some issues with travel to make sure that there's a policy in there about travel, what's reimbursable, what's not, what the distance is for reimbursement for per diem and stuff like that.
Excuse me, Bill,
Yes, sir.
why don't we follow the town policy?
Unfortunately, it contradicts itself in 2 locations, so they're working on updating that as well.
We can fix that, right?
Yeah, so we did mirror the town's policy, one of them, that they're going to correct it on. So it's nearly identical.
There should be one policy.
Yeah, the unfortunate part is the town's policy has mileage, which we don't have mileage because they're taking a squad car. So we removed those portions of it, but the rest of it we mirrored.
Need to distinguish.
Yeah, we just removed those portions and mirrored the rest of it.
Thank you.
Policy 209, Emergency Management Plan. We updated the address for the Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standards and responsibilities and under the command sections. Policy 301, Use of Force Review Boards. They updated, this was from Lexipol, also updated to address Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation standards and removal from the line of duty assignments. Some of those we approved, some of them we did not, and just made some simple modifications to that. Policy 302, handcuffing and restraints. This is a Lexipol update. Update the address again to the Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standards, and then application for handcuffs and plastic cuffs. Updated that standard on 5.1.1D. 306, firearms. This was from Lexipol. Law Enforcement Training Board amended regulations regarding mandatory and service training requirements, firearms training and qualifications, authorized firearms, discharge of firearms, rangemaster duties, and procedure for removing unsafe firearms. So this was a update to have biannual firearms qualifications from annual. It also updated rangemaster duties and procedures which we already had in place for removal of an unsafe firearm. Policy 312, search and seizure, updated the Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standards. Policy 311 for searches and inventory, just had a simple update on that. Policy 337, which is Native American graves protection. It's a new policy. It's not really something that we talked about it with the subcommittee, and it's there in case we need it or ever come upon it. But we were not aware of any that we have around here, and if we do, then we have a policy to help guide the officers if they come upon a Native American gravesite. So it will help guide them. Policy 401, updated on bias-based policing. Again, this updated the address to Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standards, and what it updated specifically was the supervisor responsibilities. 406, which is crisis intervention incidents. This was related to training and their standards, so it updated that accreditation as well and their training. Specifically, let me get to that one, sorry. Content has been updated for clarification to address the standard 3.5.4, which requires initial training for members to enable them to effectively interact with persons in a crisis. Then it also updated criminal organizations. This policy was updated to address the new Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission shared information record that has been added to this subsection, criminal intelligence system. Then we got, that was 406, right? Oh, that was 417, I'm sorry. 425, suspicious activity reporting. This policy is updated in definitions only. Content was updated to address the standards of 3.7.8, which requires a list of activities that should be reported through the nationwide suspicious activity report initiative. That's the national reporting. Mobile audio, video, and body-worn cameras, policy 429. This was, find that real quick. Video recording media. It says it's Alexa folder. I'm not seeing that in here. I'm going to go to the next one. I'll come back to this one. Policy 500, which is traffic updater. That specifically was, this policy updated the required use should, changed the word should and shall, which requires the wearing of a high visibility vest when directing or controlling traffic, and then it updated some serial commas. Traffic accidents, this is from outside law enforcement agency. Content was updated to address which requires an agency's written directive to include supervisory responsibilities relating to police-involved traffic accidents, and then administrative investigation or meaningful reviews. Policy 501, that was 501 for traffic crashes, I apologize. So that was the update for traffic crashes. Policy 709, which is collection and preservation of evidence. This was updated for Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Standards for the collection and preservation of evidence for the standard 4.2.1. Policy 800, I'm going to go to those, it might be easier to find. Policy 800 had a couple of minor updates with verbiage changes. Some that was recommended that we wanted to keep because it related to our department specifically. They changed, like, they added the word owned to department, so department-owned vehicles were very minuscule in their changes. They did add the care of the property, so all stored and issued law enforcement-related equipment, firearms, civil disturbance gear, all that shall be maintained in a state of operation readiness, so it's just required them to have it in operational status. Personal communication devices, had some updates on it for privacy expectations. Specifically, there's a lot of papers here, I apologize. It updated policy 801.3 for privacy expectations, so that they know, especially for personal equipment that's owned by themselves, that it can be subpoenaed. Yeah, it was just some update. It was honestly most of the stuff that was in there was stuff we already had. It just updated verbiage, but it clarified some issues with PCDs, which is PCDs, which is personal communication device. We're almost there, sir. Policy 804, cash handling, security, and management. Most of this, we rejected because it referred to a fund manager. We don't have a fund manager. The clerk treasurer is a fund manager, which is actually stated in our policy manual. And wanted to have one within the police department related to petty cash. Myself and my administrative assistant, only one to have access to that. That can be checked, and then it is double checked again by the clerk treasurer every time we turn the money in. And it's all signed off and can be viewed at any time. But it's secured in my office. So I had those updates. Policy 902, evidence room. This one I think was not that much. Let me double check here. It was only related to investigative training aids. So it was members shall obtain written permission from the chief before using any evidentiary items for training aids. So in the past, if we get permission from the courts, we can use some of the items in which we recover in a case. We can use them for training later on once the case has been disposed of. A great example would be narcotics. The narcotics, once the case is disposed of, can be used for a training aid for the canine. So we would need permission from the court once it's adjudicated, and then we can give permission to the canine aid. Policy 906 was cybersecurity. This was, some of this was rejected simply because we have an IT director versus a Department of Technology, so we refer to that person as the IT director. And they wanted to give the security audits to the administrative assistant, but she doesn't do security audits, so we kept it as the IT director as the person that does those. Policy 1002, which is custodial searches, some very minor his and her changes. One change from should to shall was the change there. Anti-retaliation, policy 1104. This just added the section in the event that a complaint against the chief of police, members are to report the matter directly to the town manager, so it made it more clarified. That was added by us. Overtime compensation was an update, a big update that we needed to correct. Been having some problems with too much overtime going out. So we're going to go, instead of a 2-hour call-out minimum, we'll get 30-minute increments. So I've had some incidents where they were out for 15 minutes and got 2 hours, or we're at a 10-minute meeting and got 2 hours, and it's just getting too costly. So we needed to change it to 30-minute increments so that if they're at an hour-and-a-half meeting, they get that hour-and-a-half back, or hour-and-a-half overtime. Performance audits was related to updated Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standards for employee review. So that's about it.
Thank you. We're gonna go back to 429.
Yeah, let me find that one. Thanks, Bob.
Mr. Chairman,
Norm? Hey.
I have a question for Bill.
go ahead.
On the retaliation SOP that you just finished talking about, why would the town manager be the person or office holder?
Day-to-day,
Has
because
nothing else to do with the police department.
agreed, but we believe that at least they could go to the town manager if they had a direct issue with the chief, because they don't have direct contact with the Board of Safety. We're not supposed to. So we believe that the town manager would be that person, since the police chief is appointed by the town council, and the town manager is the representative of the town council, that he or she would be able to approve that. If you think it should be different, please tell me.
I would recommend it. If that came to me, as a matter of fact, I would counsel around it.
What would you counsel it to be?
Town council president.
Just straight, that should be the person?
Yep.
Okay. That's up to you guys. You want me to
That's
do
where it's
that?
gonna end up anyway.
Pardon?
That's where it's gonna end up anyway.
Yeah.
The manager's gonna get it,
Do
and
you guys want to do that?
Well-
Dave?
That's, that would be 429.
No, it's on,
Which one was that?
anti-retaliation, which is 1104.
404. I think that, it would be easier just to take that out for tonight.
We can do that, yeah, right now. if you want to. If you wanna, when you do approve them, if you want me to change that to council president, just include that in your motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, you know, I know, I agree, and I agree, but all these boards throughout the town are to shield the town council from having to deal with every I and T and so on and so forth. Maybe it should be added in there that the employee could go to the town manager, express his concerns and what he would like, and be offered to a meeting with town council president, who has a daily job, because you can't get a hold of Nick every minute of the day.
Sure. It's not a meeting type transfer, it's a handoff or a contact by an affected officer. It's a handoff.
Okay,
It's not an adjudicative situation at that point yet. In the Indiana Code will govern what would happen in that circumstance. And it would not include the town manager, I can tell you, it's not mentioned anywhere in Title 36 or any of the other statutes that there would be involved.
Our thought was that the town manager is the representative of the council, so, and he's the day-to-day operations. And Mr. Austin is our legal advice, so if he thinks we should go to the town council president, it's neither here nor there. It's for any future chiefs or employees, so.
I'm fine with either one as long as somebody has a route around.
Right.
Impressive.
Not
Right.
not that you directly would retaliate against somebody, but at least if
Well, it
somebody
gives
has
them somewhere to
something
go.
going on, it gives them a place to go.
Yes, ma'am. That's up to you guys.
David, what's your thoughts on that?
I would prefer to leave that, with the town manager, to keep the town council president, removed 1 degree, like Mr. Nagy said, that people shouldn't be bothered with everything. If the, issue could be resolved at the town manager level, it never has to bother the, council president, it can be referred out to them. If, the town manager's investigation finds that appropriate, but it could be resolved at the town manager level, why bother?
What if we are absent of a town manager?
Well, then it can go right up to the town council. If there's nobody there in the position of town manager, well, obviously you need somebody above the level of the chief of police, to handle a complaint of the chief. So, at this stage, I would say leave it in the hands of the town manager. It could be resolved at that level, and if not, send it on up around.
Would it be a good idea to put in there, like, if it's not being able to be resolved by the town manager, then he would refer it to the council president?
Well, I don't think there's even anything in the proposed regulation that contemplates resolution or favorable or amicable disposition. It's just a portal where
Yes.
the officer would next go to.
Yeah, it's just a portal.
And the town manager, again, has no legal statutory authority to do anything other than be the receptacle of the notice.
If there's a complaint against the chief of police, an investigation has to be conducted.
Well, you know, and Dave, you know this, having been around here for a few years, we've had those situations occur, and there's no resolution at those levels. None. And if we need to talk about an executive session, I'll point out the examples.
I truly believe that there's gotta be another, before it goes to the town council president. His plate is in, you know, some of these things that this officer might not like the cologne he wears. No, I'm just saying it can be very minuscule, or it could be very,
Legit.
And
It's
if-
call, it's your call.
And if it goes to the town council president, the council president's gonna have to confer with the council they wouldn't take any action, because the town council president can't take action by himself.
Right.
What
But he-
action would?
Well, it's not about action, it's about, like Dave said, it's about an avenue for the officer to voice his complaint. That's all it is.
And the complaint has to
That's
be
right, we
addressed
agree.
and resolved.
We've been involved in the situation, and,
I'm not gonna talk about that in this meeting, in this public meeting. We have existing circumstances that mirror what this particular,
well, I was
SOP is
just
about.
thinking about our past experience, okay? And so, if the officer takes it to the town manager, so what's the town manager gonna do?
promise you, he's gonna go to the next level. He's not gonna stay in his hands or her hands.
Because,
I don't know that the town manager could or would be able to do more than the town council president, because nobody can really do anything by themselves.
well,
But we're referring to, if we're referring to disciplinary action or something, that's not what we're talking. This gives them the avenue to speak about it,
Yeah.
and then the council president would take it to the rest of the council, who would then make a determination whether the chief of police needs to be disciplined or not, right? So that's a separate issue, but that's between the council personnel and the town attorney.
I think if an officer would take a complaint to someone, he's kicked off. If he's not going to, chain of command.
Right, I mean, there's a specific chain of command, but it's, yeah. And
Yeah,
they
so
still
that-
have to follow the chain of command, they can't just jump and go right to the town council.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, so if he's that ticked off to where he's exhausted all of his chains of command, then if he's gotta go farther, it's serious. It's not like, he stole my bubble gum. I think that I'm inclined to agree with, David.
And Dave says that
Which David?
it's in the state law. It mentions
No.
nowhere about a town manager.
No,
That's correct.
I don't care, whatever you guys want. It was what we thought was appropriate, if Dave thinks it's inappropriate, you guys agree to that, or if Mr. Villalobos is correct, I'm game for whichever one you want, so, but you just gotta make it in the motion.
Well, here's where you earn your money. Let's hear what you got to say.
Oh, I'm totally with Dave.
Yes,
I feel that.
Villalobos?
Yes.
Okay.
I am for the town manager handling it.
Okay.
So we'll leave it as is in the motion then?
Well, what you have.
We have it as the town manager, right?
Well, so we wouldn't have to,
No changes.
no.
Okay, policy 429, Bob, it has to do with our, they wanted to remove the term body worn camera or BWC. We want to maintain BWC because we have two separate camera systems. We have our car cameras, which is called the mobile audio video, and then we have our BWCs, which is our body worn cameras. So we wanted to keep those in there because that maintains the difference in the two. Updated the activation of the MAP BWC, when it's got to be activated, which is every time they're dealing with somebody. One thing we did get rid of was some of the supervisor responsibilities, because one, they don't have the authority or the ability to do some of the things that they were saying, like tracking the number of MAB systems, media, date media, stuff like that. They don't have access to that, it's secure. So only certain administrations have access to that. So we removed those. Again, like supervisors may activate, so some of the body camera systems have the ability to activate remotely. So if I wanted to, as a supervisor, see what my crew is doing, they can activate the camera to watch them, and that is not authorized with our department, nor will it ever take place while I'm the police chief. So they cannot remote access an officer's camera system at all. Yeah, so those were the updates. Many of them were removing of BWC and MAB to make it one word, but we like the separation of the two. Any questions on that?
I like that remote control, that's really getting, kinda really,
The what?
the activation of, out of the remote control, you know,
Yeah.
that's kinda really.
Yeah, that's really invading, and I would never do that. That was one of the things that was talked about of remote activation, and there's just not gonna happen.
No.
Like, it's not.
That's too much Big Brother.
That's way too much Big Brother.
Okay, let me get to my right page. A motion to approve the minutes as stated.
In the minutes or
The policies.
policies?
I'm sorry, too much talking.
Would you, and would you like me to read the numbers
Lexi
off?
Bob, you should have caught that. Lexi-
I was about ready to say that, I'm shuffling papers.
Would you like me to read the numbers off so it's official?
You did once.
Okay. In the past, we've always read the numbers
Okay.
off. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's nice
In the
if
motion.
you have to, go back and
Yeah.
review them,
Yep.
it's,
We know which ones you guys approve. So this, Mr. Nagy, if you're making this motion on these policies, these are specific policies. 104, job description, 202, emergency operations plan, 203, training, 209, emergency management plan and procedure, 301, use of force review boards, 302, handcuffing and restraints, 306, firearms, 312, search and seizure, 337, Native American grave protections, 401, bias-based policing, 406, crisis intervention incidents, 417, criminal organizations, 425, suspicious activity reporting, 429, mobile audio, video, and body-worn camera, 500, traffic, 501, traffic crashes, 709, collection and preservation of evidence, 800, department-owned and personal property, 801, personal communication devices, 804, cash handling, security and management, 902, evidence room, 906, cybersecurity, 1002, custodial searches, 1104, anti-retaliation, 1120, overtime compensation, 1128, performance audit histories.
okay, Larry has a motion on the floor to approve the lexical policies as the numbers was added. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Nagy?
Yes.
Mr. Villalobos?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes. Approved. Okay, item B, policy 1102, due to a paperwork snafu, we're going to defer that until the next meeting.
You need a motion for that?
Yes. Yeah,
I motion
need a
that.
motion to defer.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Barbara made the motion, Larry seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Nagy?
Yes.
Mr. Villalobos?
Yes.
Mr. Stick?
Yes. Thank you. Do we have any other?
Let's see, the only thing else I have, we have training coming up from, that we're gonna invite you guys to it, it'll be in June, it's called Logan's Love. We'll be doing a presentation on Ben's Blue Bags. It is a program that puts blue bags in our squad cars to help us, in dealing and to communicate with, children with autism.
And it's coming up in June,
It's coming up in July.
July.
Yeah, I might have said the wrong word,
Sorry,
sorry.
you said June, so I'm gonna, all right.
I don't feel so bad now.
And then we just had a review of our, employee assistance program. Actually, we're above national average on the use of it, which is really awesome. But the clerk treasurer has requested that we start pushing it out there more, that it's available for our employees to utilize as much as possible, so. But we're about 4% above the national average, which is really good. We were pretty shocked because it was our first year, so. But it's working well. The EAP company was very, very happy, like, no, you guys are good, you're doing good, so. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Fire department, number 12, communications.
None at this time, sir.
Okay, number 13, finances.
We'll start with, purchase orders. You have the list handed to you early before the meeting. Total purchase orders for a month of May was $9,088.74. Also in that, you have the expenditure report closing out till May 31st of 2024.
Any questions?
Yeah. And this isn't, I mean, I'm not, would you just, for the sake of knowing what is the thing on for the rotted? Okay, what is a Mustang Ice Commander suits?
Okay, are you referring to the purchase orders report?
Yes.
Okay, the Mustang Ice Commander suit is also known as Gumby suit. It's for any cold water rescue,
Okay.
whether it's for shallow stuff, obviously. It's a full suit with the hood that you guys have seen, yellow and black in color. Two of those just wore out over the years, and there's a shelf life on those suits where they will or will not repair those. Those were both found to have leaks, and they reached their max limit on shelf life. And we got some more coming up, probably we'll look at replacing this winter as well.
And the airbag, Rodden airbags, is that suspension airbags?
On 1263, yes, that was, those are original airbags from 2008, so quite.
That's on the Chevy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Then finally, under finances, the only update I have on the grants is no news is good news. We haven't heard anything that, we're still in the process for the SCBA grant as discussed previous few months. So they should start awarding here pretty soon.
You're right, no news is good news. Okay, Nick, are you ready to take a deep breath and start the Lexipol policy updates?
Yes, we're gonna get this done fast. With that being said, we did have a work session, public work session last week. So you guys in attendance where they were discussed in detail, so, your decision if you want me to read number and title only, or.
That's fine.
Okay, number and title only. Starting with policy 701, personal communication devices, 911, fire station safety, 917, apologies as it's on the list twice, but that's personal firearms. 1000, recruitment and selection. 1021, physical fitness. 1022, critical incident stress debriefing. 200, organizational structure. A reminder, 214 and 215 are both new policies. 214 is Americans with Disabilities Act ADA compliance. 215 is limited English proficiency services. 917, safety personal firearms. That was repeated in the list on the agenda there, as you can see. 914, personal protective equipment, and 1025, lactation breaks. Again, noting these are all current policies with some minor changes or updates to them, excluding 214 and 215, which we discussed again in detail at last week's meeting, are the new policies.
And I'll reaffirm what Nick said, the reason we're able to do that, because we had a public work session and we was all in attendance, so we all heard what was going on.
And I wasn't able to be here, I had other commitments, and so you did go over all these, because they're not in my packet.
Publicly right here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Carnahan, as well as the work session last week, committee, whether it be Mr. Villalobos or Mr. Stick, that was our committee, so they did go through the committee prior to going to the work session last week.
Okay.
So we got caught up on a lot of policies.
Yeah,
here.
because we have been lacking, and it's good to see all these.
Yeah, so the only thing that we talked with Chief Todd is that he was gonna bring us up to date as far as the Lexipol policies matching our books. That's still in the works yet.
Yes, we're working on it.
Okay. Okay, a motion to approve the Lexipol policies.
I'll move from that.
That was made by Barb,
I'll second.
seconded by Larry. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Whittles?
Yes.
Mr. Yagi?
Yes.
Mr. Villalobos?
Yes.
Mr. Stick?
Yes. Thank you very much. Trainer report?
As attached in your packet, you'll have the monthly training report for May, total of 446 hours with the breakdown by category and hours within that report.
Questions on training?
Yeah, I'm just looking.
Questions on training? No?
No, I don't see anything.
Equipment?
Barb, were you good?
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
that's okay.
I could hear around close.
Board, the only report I got on equipment we're working with the township on, we did have some costly repairs last month to 12/12. That's the only report I have at this time.
Okay, well, that's the one section, the less you have to say, the better.
Yep.
Monthly activity, 17.
As attached in your packets, total incidents for the month of May are 194 incidents, 148 of which were EMS, 33 of which were fire, and 13 personal injury accidents. And also within that is breakdown by area. Within town limits was 151 unincorporated, Hanover Township 21, and 22 mutual aid calls. All of which throughout the month this created, and this is actually increasing for the overlapping incidents up to 35% of the time. Also within that report is the breakdown by incidents by day of the week and hours of the day. And then a total incident type list underneath that.
Questions?
So Fridays seem to be the busiest, then Wednesday, then Thursday.
This month, you are correct, 35 incidents throughout the month on Fridays and Wednesdays, and that does, if you keep track of all the reports, that does rotate quite frequently, as we cannot really break it down. It does help, but as you can see, it stays pretty steady all the time. Weather plays a lot into this, because you see for the month of May and Saturday, you think the calls would be a little bit higher on a Saturday, but if you consider the rainy weather we had most of the month of May, that would explain some of it. But again, it's unpredictable.
Good point.
Daytime, hours of the day wise, we are definitely busier during the day than at night, and that's been holding steady for the past few years.
Okay, number 18, you have a question?
No.
Staffing would be, did the interview committee at the fire department ever meet with the two people that I think we've only had two apply for positions?
Yes, I believe the two that was discussed prior for, obviously, one was an additional hire and then one was a replacement for firefighter paramedic that left.
No, we had we had two people apply for jobs. When we sent out that we was looking for people, and then we got two people to apply, have they been interviewed?
No, and they have not come to you yet. This
Okay.
would have been for the prior, I believe.
Well, there's like two people that we need to interview that applied. I believe there's only two right now. There could, but we need to see if we can.
I'd have to defer that question to the chief.
Well, I
do
know,
not
I'll just
the
pass
answer.
it on, please.
Okay.
I think there's two people that, applications that was turned in. Okay. Now we're going to, on the next one, A, recommendation to the town council for a conditional full-time employment offer to Jenna Reinhold as she passed CPAT. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Whittle?
Yes.
Mr. Nagy?
Yes.
Mr. Villalobos?
Yes.
Mr. Sick?
Yes. Okay, I was contacted by, Nick Recupio to, pardon?
Recupero.
Okay, I'm close.
Okay.
Nick R. The council wanted a recommendation from the Public Safety Board, the town council to approve the Mavis agreement. Nick, will you, take over from there?
Yes, sir. So the Mavis agreement stands for Mutual Aid Box Alarm System. Our division is Division 207, which is most of the departments within Lake County. This had formed back in, I believe, as 2009, where the agreement originated at. However, with the passing of the past president of our division, we were unable to obtain or collect all paperwork, so we as a division decided that let's just have everyone update them this year if possible, or provide the copies they had. So this would have to go through the proper change within town. There have been no changes to this agreement at all since inception, and it's successive every year, so you don't have to continuously sign it every year.
Okay, at this point, can I have a motion to send a favorable, recommendation to approve the Mavis agreement?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Liddle?
Yes.
Mr. Nagy?
Yes.
Mr. Villalobos?
Yes.
Mr. Stick?
Yes. Okay, this is under the same heading. B, recommendation to the town council to hire, recommendation to the town council to hire, the town, agreement with the town and Hanover School Corporation, proposed contract to employ town paramedics as part-time employees for sporting events when they are off duty.
Which school will pay for it?
Pardon?
School will pay for it?
It's the same exact offer as the police department. Can we have a motion to send a favorable recommendation to the council?
Could I ask Nick a question?
Yes.
Nick, where do you stand on this? Is this good for you?
Yes, this is, obviously for any, as, Mr. Stick had mentioned, anything for sporting events. There's some talk about, in the absence of an athletic director or assigned person to a certain event, they'd like to have a paramedic there. We currently already have this with the school to a point. It's not in contract form, but there is actually a job for Firewatch, an event, a sprinkler system, or alarm system, and that's paid direct. They're actually employees of the town. So this will mirror, as Mr. Stick said, the SRO and also the Firewatch position.
So is that so, like, you got the paramedics there, something happens just to stabilize and then call
Yeah,
ambulance?
it still goes through the process, reporting, 911, or via radio, whichever
Okay.
one. We'd go direct on a radio,
Right,
have it dispatched, and then the on-duty crew would take over care at that time.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Liddle?
Yes,
Mr. Nagy?
Yes.
Mr. Villalobos?
Yes.
Mr. Stick?
Yes. Okay, we did the Mavis, we did that.
Oh, this is
Fire
Barb.
alarm going off. Nick, you have to respond to something. Okay, it's over.
That's when I closed my work bell, I forgot.
Okay, thank you. Legal report from Mr. Austin.
I have nothing for the public meeting. We are working on the EOP that Chief mentioned earlier. And I expect a substantive report to you next month.
Do we need to have a meeting after this meeting for anything?
I don't need you for anything.
You don't have anything?
If you have something you want of me.
We have nothing. Okay, town council, my favorite word, liaison report.
I don't have a report, but I do have a suggestion or something for Bill Fisher. The complaints are coming in about fireworks being lit off, past the hours. Is there a way you can send out like a smart 911 message reminding people of the hours of the fireworks, and also to post it on the town's Facebook? We'll post on the police department Facebook and then share it with police and fire, just as a reminder of what's acceptable and what's not during the season.
Sure.
Thank you.
Along with that, I don't know who did one this weekend. But it was huge and it lasted forever.
The display, there's
Yeah.
a guy that owns a company that's in unincorporated Cedar Lake, there's nothing we could do on it,
Yeah.
so.
Somebody posted on the Facebook, they posted their picture there, it wasn't the gentleman over there, it was somebody else that was like taking,
Locally,
yeah.
unfortunately, it's very difficult to catch them or to, unless they're running a bunch of displays and, because the fireworks law is very specific when they can light them off, what days of the year and stuff like that. So, but yes, we can put that out there.
Kelly, who runs a farmer's market, whose husband does fireworks, said it wasn't him.
Chief Fisher, just so you know, the show they were talking about Saturday night, I drove by it, that was an unincorporated area, that was not in town.
It must have been a heck of a show.
It was large.
Nick, do we still have a fire watch at MacArthur?
That is being handled by the school corporation. We only did it for the initial week,
Okay.
because we do not have staffing to do something like that, because you are 100% committed the whole entire time. So I don't know.
Are they still doing that?
Right now, they're not required to, because there's no students within, so it doesn't meet the parameters being construction workers. They have a safety plan in place. That project will be wrapping up here in the next few weeks. I do not know if the fire watch will need to continue. It'll depend on the flow test for the sprinkler system.
Okay,
But project-wise, everything else is passing except for the sprinkler system.
Anything further?
No.
New building update?
The police department's probably 98% completed, some very minor things that they have to do. Obviously barring the water main project, which has been submitted to IDEM, so we're waiting for return from IDEM. They've paved the first two, the big section in the backside of our parking lots. I think they have one more coat that's got to go on top of that, but where it's stopped from next to the buildings, it's going to stay like that until the water main gets done. So the fire side is probably 90% complete.
I'd say 90, yeah.
90% complete. So.
What's that vegetation growing in that?
Weeds.
Huh?
Weeds.
Weeds, so that's gonna be gone?
That'll be gone.
Okay, I thought it was.
We would not grow vegetation by the flagpoles like that, so.
Okay.
So you
They're holding off on the landscaper because they don't want to bring them out twice and cost us more money, so. And unfortunately, our people can't go in there and cut that down because it's a project, so it's fenced off for a reason, so.
All right.
Does anybody have anything else, any other?
No, sir.
Okay, public comment? Once? Twice? 3 times? I declare this meeting adjourned at 7:04.